hello again. I'm Michael,
And I'm Carol.
and this is
What the Scale?
So last time we got together with you, we introduced this current series entitled Tips to Intermittent Fasting.
Right, and this is going to be part 2.
This is part 2. There could be a part 3 depending how far we get today, but we're dealing with roughly 30 tips. Last session we looked at 10. Let me read them real quickly. Start slow. Do not start with ADF. Understand, clean fast. Plan according to your schedule. Drink a sparkling water when you feel the urge to eat. Delay cooking. Plan your meals weekly. Clearly define your reason. Understand that the breakfast is the most important meal. Mentality is a fallacy. Drink lots of water and drink lots of water again. So we started fresh today. I just thought of another one that I don't have on the list, is when you're teaching people about intermittent fasting, don't wear clothes that have food on them. Yeah.
Burgers.
Yeah, you love my burgers and my burger hat.
So I'll start with the first one. So this is continued. This is number 12. Stay occupied. A couple of days a week I work remotely, and when I'm home, it's much harder because I have food available all the time. When I go to work, I just don't take any food with me, but when I'm home, so I stay busy. In fact, I've stayed so busy that I forgot to clock out for a lunch break because I'm supposed to take one, but I forgot.
Well, not only that, there have been times that we've been sitting here and she forgot to get something started. Maybe put in the baked potatoes. I like to get them cooked. The average person maybe does an hour. I like to do mine for about 2 hours. But also stay occupied, especially like on a weekend when neither one of you are working. Go on out.
Saturday, I like to look for things to clean. That's the thing about intermittent fasting. It actually spills over into other areas of your life.
Well, as far as giving you more energy.
You have more energy. It's almost, I told him it's like, have you ever been on a steroid?
Yeah, I was ready to say that.
Where it makes you want to organize everything? That's how it makes me feel.
Yeah, last time I was on a steroid, Carol came home from work and I had built some huge shelves downstairs, and it's not even my style. So we say stay occupied. Find something to do.
This weekend on Saturday.
Yeah, don't do what we did.
Well, do what we did, but don't do what we did. We said, let's don't sit here at home and listen to the refrigerator calling us. Let's go out and do something. So we went out shopping to a home store.
Which, again, a home store. We just figured it was home goods.
Well, home goods, but it had food in it. And we came home with lots of snacks.
Well, not only that, do you tell them what, so as soon as we get there, they've got a shopping cart.
There's a buggy there. And I said, I don't know if we need one because I don't even know if I'm buying anything. But I took one.
You notice the southernness, the buggy. Now, we call them shopping carts.
We spent $72 on snacks.
Food snacks. That's all I mean.
We were going to try later.
Yep.
Yeah, so that probably wasn't.
Now, and most of the food snacks we got, we'll talk about this in a minute, were organic. So we're really getting into the organic fad. So that was, where did we leave off? Stay occupied. You did that one, right? So number 13, don't compare yourself to others. Big downfall. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is can be considered a big fallback, maybe with programs like Weight Watchers. Again, we did it for years, a lot of success. But if you know,
can never keep it off.
Yeah. If you know that someone else weighing in front of you lost, 0.5 or a pound, you gained some, especially if you know in advance, you end up not going to the meetings.
Well, he's a man, so he loses weight much quicker than me. And if I compared myself to him, I would get really discouraged. But you just have to trust the process and keep on keeping on.
Yep.
All right, the next one is measure monthly. And I talked about that in our last video. Even if you don't see a loss at the scale, you are going to see a loss in measurements. So measure. There is an app you can get called Me 360, and it does a complete body scan 5 times a year for free. and it takes your measurements and everything. So that's a really fun app to do. And so we have it in our calendar when we can do our next scan. And you can compare your previous scan to your new scan, and it's really fun. So we do little things like that to keep us motivated.
Another one, don't get too enamored with the scale. I know, for instance, we'll go back to Jen Stevens. Both of us have mentioned her many, many times. She's just become our big follower. We love watching her and listening to her. She hasn't used a scale in years. She said she uses, what's that scale that she uses, and how does that work?
It's called a Shape-A scale, where you can make it so you can't see the numbers, and it changes colors as you're losing weight. It's a different color if you're maintaining, and another color yet if your weight is going up. But it takes an average, so it takes a couple of weeks before it even starts reading, because it's taking an average of your weight every day.
Right. So,
but that's how we do our weight. We weigh every day, and we just do an average at the end of the week.
Right. But, do what fits your
Some people
lifestyle.
Don't, just like my daughter is doing it. Shout out to you. Good job. And she just puts the scale away and measures once a month. Yep. And if you can do that, then do that.
But again, we still measure or weigh daily. I'll be honest with you. I like to see that. But it does not bother me. We told you a couple episodes when we came back from our vacation trip that we both had gained some weight, and did not bother us whatsoever. We got back on track, and we're continuing to lose weight.
And you need to decide what kind of food you're going to eat. When we first started, and you can do this forever, we ate whatever we wanted, and we still eat whatever we want, but our tastes have changed. Yeah. It's really weird. You start craving more healthy, unprocessed foods. Yeah. You can combine this with Weight Watchers. You could do keto, you could do carnivore. You could do any diet with this, but our whole thought is we don't want to be on a diet anymore. This is how we plan to live the rest of our life. And
we did start out while on Weight Watchers.
Yeah, we did.
And we complemented Weight Watchers with intermittent fasting, but we finally got to the point where we didn't want to think this at all.
We don't want to track anymore.
Yeah, we don't track things. We do weigh. That's probably the only thing I still do. But
we don't weigh our food. We weigh our bodies.
Right, weigh our bodies. We don't count calories. Nope. So we just have gotten away from that mentality. But if you want to stay there where you are, another one is a Mediterranean diet. Great. Yeah.
But we don't do sugar-free. We don't do non-fat. All those kind of diety things we don't do anymore, and there's such a freedom in that.
But we do watch, and we'll talk about that in one of our other points as far as things that we do eat and the things we try to stay away from. Next item is don't view, and it ties in with what we just talked about, but don't view this program. Don't view, I don't even like programs, don't do intermittent fasting, or you'll hear us often call it IF. Don't view it as a diet. It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle change.
Yeah, and when you get used to that terminology, the periodic weight gain is not going to bother you.
Face it, when you go on a diet, you're always thinking, once I get to my goal weight, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat that, I'm going to eat this. And what happens? Your weight comes back.
Right.
When you intermittent fast, there are so many stories of people who've been able to maintain their weight loss for the rest of their life. Yep. So that's what we want to do.
Yep, absolutely. You got the next one?
I do have the next one, and it is, that's the honesty pants?
Yep, that's yours.
That wasn't numbered. Set aside some honesty pants. We get that term from Jen Stevens in her book. You find a pair of pants that don't have any stretch in them. And if you don't want to weigh, or you can do this with weighing, you try on those pants, and as long as they fit, you're doing good. But if they start getting tight, you need to rein back, maybe shorten your window a little bit for a while, or stay away from sweets for a little while, or whatever that thing is. That usually when you see that you've gained weight, you know why. Yeah. So you just need to tighten up the reins a little bit.
Now, the other method of the honesty pants is when we got started in all this, I was wearing a size 48 waist.
48.
Not 48,
48.
38 waist.
Yeah.
I'm now down to a 34, about to get down to a 32. A lot of my 34s are looking too large.
And I was in an 18W, and now I'm sometimes in a 12, sometimes in a 14, depending on the manufacturer.
So the honesty pants can be, as she said, buy the size you currently wear, just keep checking periodically, or get a size a bit smaller.
Right, or you might have some in your closet.
Are you shouting?
No.
You got excited.
Over your voice because you're loud. You might have some in your closet that you could wear a long time ago, and you want to fit into them again and use those as your motivation. I have a stack of clothes, a small hanging up thing of clothes that I try on once a month. They're too tight to see how they fit different. So that's another way I motivate myself.
Now, the other thing I've done is the opposite of honesty pants, and I don't know if I've mentioned this to you. So I have an old suit that I've had for a number of years, and I pulled with it just a couple days ago, and it's huge. I mean, I may have been in I've been all the way up to a 42 waist before. And these, I think, were 40 waist, and gosh, were they just so huge.
Yeah, and keep a pair of your really big clothes so that when you get real thin, you can take a picture in them, because that'll be a cool picture.
All right, number 19. Remember, nothing is off limits. Now, we seem to be contradicting ourselves, but in reality, nothing's off limits. I love a treat, especially when I've had a really good couple days, and I've become really enamored. I think I mentioned this before. I never used to eat dark chocolate. I already talked about coffee the other day. I never drank black coffee. But
You
now...
never ate kale either.
Yeah, I never ate kale until we did the kale episode. Actually, I started eating it before that because of the green. But the whole issue with the nothing off limits is really, literally, nothing is off limits. You're not counting calories.
And you don't feel guilty when you eat something that you couldn't have on Weight Watchers. For example, I have a case of Pepsi in my refrigerator outside. Just so if I ever want one, I can have one in my window, and I've probably had 2 in the last 6 months. I mean, it's not, but it's just there, and once in a while, but it really doesn't even taste as good anymore, believe it or not.
Neither does that case of vodka that I have hidden in our closet. No, I'm kidding. I don't drink. So, all right, you've got the next one.
All righty. So, you can record. I made us little books that we record our weight. In the beginning, I was still in that mentality of, I want to write everything down what I'm eating. But then I got to the point, I don't even need this anymore. So I got rid of it.
But I think it was good initially, since we were in that mentality through Weight Watchers. We liked this because it was daily. Carol,
some people like to see the data.
Yeah, and so we got used to the data. And then Carol showed me as far as doing the average at the end of the week as opposed to worrying about everything every day. And it was really encouraging. But it got to the point that we both said, we're not going to live the rest of our lives writing stuff down in a book.
Right.
But, maybe getting started, if you have that mindset, it's not like you've got to burn all those books. Do what is working for you.
Right.
So. We keep having too many pauses.
I think we should do the last one, and then that should be it.
For this session, we'll have to do a part 3.
Yeah.
So the last one is sleep 7 to 8, 9 hours a day.
9? I wish I could get.
Well, she
knows.
knows.
He can sleep 9.
I typically do 8 to 9 hours a day.
I do about 7 to 8.
Yeah, she can't. But you really, any doctor, regardless of diet, regardless of fasting, is going to tell you that your body, God designed us for our bodies to need that kind of rest. Every creation he has, whether it's a bear that hibernates. I just read an article with all the freezing.
Remind me of a bear.
I do?
Yeah, because you like to hibernate. He can sleep.
I was telling my North Carolina story. It's been freezing down there in the ponds, and they had a picture of an alligator frozen in a lake.
Saw that.
You saw that with his head popped up. Well, it wasn't dead. An alligator, and they had a
Well,
term
they're
for it.
cold-blooded, so
Yeah, but there was a term that was similar to hibernation for an alligator. Why did I bring that
I
up?
have no clue. Why did he bring it up? Do y'all know?
It had to do something with.
This is this means he's chasing rabbits.
No,
when I
oh,
do
talking
this.
about sleep. Bears hibernate. I had a reason.
Well, you already said bears hibernate.
Well, I know, but I was wondering why did I go to bears and alligators? But get some
Lions
sleep.
and tigers and bears.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Now, since I already talked about the water, it's even more important to make sure you're getting sound sleep because you'll be getting up in the night to use the restroom. But trust me,
But
she'll
if
tell
you're
you.
like me, I don't really drink after 5 p.m., so I don't get up as much as him.
I do, yeah, I do. So those are right now 21 tips. If you take lesson 1 and lesson 2, combine them, and this means that we will do a third lesson on tips to intermittent fasting. And personally, even though I get long-winded, I'll admit that. But 31 are a lot of tips.
Shocker.
And I'm glad. I hope
And
you
we're
are
still
too.
learning.
Yeah,
We're
right.
still learning. We're still relatively newbies. I
Yeah.
started the end of July 2024, and he started 30 days later.
Yeah, in August. So we're looking at our tracker that we use called Zero, that we put stuff in on a regular basis. So that's a simple tracking method as opposed to the book that was helpful that Carol created, but we've stopped doing the book and still use the Zero app, which helps us find.
Which is actually another tip.
Oh, that is a tip. Yeah, find a good app.
Yeah, we use Zero.
Yeah, Zero is a really, really good app.
It kind of motivates me. Okay, I'm shutting my window and I hit start fast. And once I've hit that button, I do not want to eat anything else. It keeps me from eating it. Of course, I can edit it if I decide later, oh, I did want something. But for example, here is our app. This is me for the month of January. All the green is all the fast that I set my goal for 20 hours or above. So all the greens are the ones I made it. And most of the ones I didn't is the weekend when we would have a less of an app, but it's always at least 16 hours.
And I'll give you, again, a brief evidence of how tracking sort of goes by the wayside. When we first started using Zero, great app. We were making sure we were on tune. So I would say almost every day or every few days, Carol says, when did we stop the fast? Or
one
when
of
did we
us
start?
will have stopped it, so we'll have to ask the other one what time was it.
Because we've gotten out of the habit of tracking.
But it is a good habit.
But it is a good habit with a simple app. So, all right, that's it for session number 2 on the tips for intermittent fasting. I'm Michael.
And I'm Carol.
You can call me Hamburger Man, but this is
Hamburglar.
Hamburglar. This is What the Scale.